Your right leg in, your right leg out. In, out, in, out. You shake it all about. You do the hokey cokey and you turn around.
Okay, so good afternoon, Year 8. Today you're going to learn about extending our algorithms and knowing about some of the components that go into an algorithm, and basically you're going to learn about sequencing, looping and selection through the medium of dance, computing through the medium of dance. So just listen to the hokey cokey again.
Your right leg in, your right leg out. In, out, in, out. You shake it all about. You do the hokey cokey and you turn around.
We can turn this into an algorithm quite easily, and we're going to look at doing it in a flowchart way. So flowcharts are really useful for planning and for showing inputs and outputs, and just the sequence of instructions. So in your pink books, what I'd like you to do, your first activity is to take the hokey cokey dance, just that 20 seconds, and you're going to fill out the instructions into a flowchart like this into your pink books. Pause the video now, go and do that, and then we'll move on. So you should have something like this. Right leg in, right leg out, right leg in out fast, right leg in out fast, right leg shake about, body turn around and stop. So how can we improve this sequence of instructions? Well, at the moment, the section here is it doesn't say how fast. Like last lesson, we found that following instructions is quite difficult. So here, this is very vague. This is all very vague about what we're going to be doing. Okay. Also, could we use a loop to improve it so that it does the next verse? So a loop, or what we call iteration, is a part of a computer program that causes the instructions within the loop to be repeated. So here, for example, with our right leg in and out fast, these are two instructions. Well, I can make it down to one instruction if I create a loop. So here, right leg in, right leg out. Now we do this twice. So I create a little loop, say that I want it done twice, and then I can move on to the next instruction. So I'll give you a little minute to do this. Here are some definitions. I've got algorithm, I've got sequence, I've got loop. I've got 3 definitions here. All I want you to do is match the following word to the definition. So what is a set of instructions to be followed in a sequence to achieve a result, such as create a dance routine? The instructions are repeated a set number of times. Is a particular order in which related events or movements follow each other. So I'd just like you, in your pink books, just to write down the key definitions of those 3 words, please. And here are the answers. So an algorithm is a set of instructions to be followed in sequence to achieve a result. Loop is the instructions of dance moves that are repeated a set number of times. And a sequence is a particular order in which related events or movements follow each other. So a new concept here is the idea of selection. It asks a question, and depending on the answer, the program takes one of 2 courses. A question is, when we do a flowchart, it is in a diamond box. And you always have information coming into it. The question is then asked. The flow of the data that can either go no or false, or it can go down into a yes route. So here, if I wanted to ask the question in my routine, if the music is playing, then perform dance, else stop dancing, that would look like this. So is the music playing? Yes, then you perform the dance. If it's not, we stop dancing. So here's another example. If the whistle blows, then sit down, else perform the dance. And that's what it would look like in our flowchart. Has the whistle blown? Yes, sit down. No, perform the dance. So, what again in your pink books? Here's the first one. If the music is playing, then perform a dance, else stop dancing. So I want you to fill out the rest of these in your book. Write them out fully, please. So if it starts to rain, then what do you do? Otherwise, what do you do? If the house is cold, then what do you do? Else, what do you do? If the traffic light is red, then blank, else, what do you do? So hopefully you've done them in your book. Let's just go through what we could have said. So if it starts to rain, then put a coat on, else put a t-shirt on. If the house is cold, then turn the heating on, else don't turn the heating on. If the traffic light is red, then don't drive forwards, else you can drive forwards. Okay, what I'd like you to do then, from what you've learned there, I want you to create a flowchart for me with 4 dance moves for your own dance. Make sure that you sequence it using a flowchart. It must contain at least 1 repeat, so you should maybe repeat at least one of the moves a couple of times, and make sure that it's got a question. It's got some selection, a diamond box with a yes no coming off it. And then I want you to annotate your work to include the keywords and how they were used. So for an algorithm, just annotate it, put an arrow around the algorithm or to the algorithm, and just explain what you've done. The same for sequence, the same for loop, and the same for selection. I would like that all done in your pink books, please. If you have access to a camera and you can photograph it and put it on to show my homework, that would be very beneficial. Could you otherwise comment on the show my homework, telling your teacher what you've done and how you've done it, and if you had any issues. So we're going to look at using Scratch going forward, okay, to create a dance style program. Today's been all about, if we just go back up, all about sequencing, looping and selection. This lesson should take you roughly around 35 minutes. See show my homework for the Explorer task that will be put in to aid you to go further in learning about sequencing, looping and selection. See you in the next video.